Here's the 7 essential nutrients to facilitate optimal, energy-efficient methylation.
My name is Jason Schuster. I'm a doctor of physical therapy. I own Intricate Art Spine and Body Solutions. It's a continuing education company teaching other doctors how to do a couple things. Before that, I was a fly fishing guide in between Patagonia, Chile, and southwestern Alaska for a decade. This is a clip from our online Intricate Art Nutrition Certification, IANC. This is a great group of online courses. It's 5 courses. They're 5 CEUs each.
Methylation. Human beings are the most complex systems in the universe as far as we know. There's an insane amount of stuff that is happening all the time at a ton of different levels. It all depends on itself, on the other things functioning properly for them to function properly themselves. So methylation is a very, very important one because a lot of vitamins need to be methylated. It's the way that people end up with unmetabolized folic acid syndrome is through a problem with methylation. So let's go through this a little bit more specifically. So methylation, again, is adding a methyl group or a CH3 group to a molecule or to the DNA, and demethylation is removing a CH3 group. This has a profound effect on DNA health, RNA health, protein health, and overall health. Again, I think if we could somehow objectively quantify all the medical knowledge that's available out there in the ether, I would guarantee you we know less than 5%. We just know so little about this. And I think the more you learn about this stuff, the more you understand how little we actually know. Like, it does seem like we know a lot in medicine. We really don't know anything, you guys. We know so little, which again, if you just look at it from the proper frame of reference, we don't know a lot of this stuff. There's a ton of area for improvement, and the stuff that we do know can be used to much higher. The stuff that we do know now, it can be used to help people's health so much more than it is, because most of this, basically all of this stuff that I'm telling you guys, no other doctors are going to know anything about this stuff. And if you don't know anything about this stuff, you're not going to be able to help people with it. Like I mentioned before, in 2024, I teach newly graduated medical doctors, osteopaths, doctors of physical therapy, chiropractors, athletic trainers all the time. Less than 5% of them know anything about this, and it's not because they learned it in school, it's because they've learned it someplace else. During methylation, there's a universal methyl donor, you guys, which is called SAMe, or if you just want to say it SAMe, I say SAMe for whatever reason. So the universal methyl donor that humans have is S-adenosylmethionine. SAMe readily donates a methyl group to other substances which can alter their form. I kind of think of SAMe as like the mitochondria for ATP. SAMe, not so much that they're producing a methyl group, but they contain a methyl group that they can give to other people. SAMe is a methyl donor. It's very, very important because if you don't have enough methyl groups available to be donated to vitamins, if you're not taking methylated multivitamins, which is something we talk about in the nutrition and supplementation course, it's super duper important, you guys. So watch both part 1 and part 2 of the nutrition and supplementation course, and the epigen and the peptides course, and the intro course, because none of these courses are going to provide you with the proper amount of knowledge on their own. But if you take all of these courses together, all of them link to each other, and you will have the foundational understanding of how to go about helping your patients better and more, and yourself with this stuff. The system that produces SAMe is reliant on the presence of something called 5-MTHF, you guys. So 5-MTHF is 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. Folic acid is the artificial generic substitute for 5-MTHF. One way to think about it, I guess, would be think about like folic acid is like aspartame to sugar, but that's not really a good example because folic acid is worse for you than sugar. And there's some debate, I guess, on this, if aspartame is worse for you than sugar or not. Neither one of them are good for you. But 5-MTHF or 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, that's the bioactive or bioavailable form. If a human being eats folic acid, what needs to happen is the folic acid needs to get converted or broken down by multiple numerous steps to end up being converted into 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. And 30 to 60% of humans in the United States have a gene mutation of 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase, which is the enzyme that needs to be used to acquire the 5-MTHF. If you have a 5-MTHFR gene anomaly, your body cannot efficiently or cannot at all break down folic acid into 5-MTHF. So if you are in, basically if you're half of the United States population, it is impossible for you to get proper amounts of 5-MTHF from eating folic acid because your body can't break down folic acid. It's like putting water into your car gas tank every time you fill it up. For human beings, folic acid is like putting half a cup of water into your gas tank each time you fill it up. It may not do anything right away, but at a certain point it's going to clog it up because your car engine is not meant to use water. It's meant to use gas. And that is the same exact thing that we're doing to the human body by putting folic acid into the body. Now, even if you're not in 50% of the US population can't process folic acid. The other 50% can't process it well because folic acid is not a natural substance found anywhere on planet Earth, and there's only a couple countries in the world that allow folic acid to be put into food, and the United States is one of them. I'll tell you guys a quick story about folic acid. So when I moved to South America, I've always had a problem eating bread in the United States, and I never knew why. Until I moved to South America when I was 20, and I lived down there for a decade. They don't, at least where I was at, way down south in Patagonia, they don't poison their food with all this crap that we do in the United States to make the pharmaceutical companies and the big ag companies and the food companies money. The only reason that folic acid is put into food is because of money. Who cares if it's bad for people? That's the obvious line of thought that the government is using, because most countries don't allow folic acid in their food because they know it's bad for you. And it's not a natural substance. It's not good for you. We know what the natural substance is, which is 5-MTHF. Why isn't that put into the food? Because it's more expensive. If 5-MTHF, 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, was put into the food, as far as I understand, every single human being can use that because that's the active form of folate. If we put 5-MTHF in the food, that would make everybody healthier, as far as I understand. Folic acid makes nobody healthier. Folic acid is not healthy for people, especially if you can't break it down. It's causing you more problems, and we're going to talk about those problems in a second. So unless you're taking methylated vitamins, which we talk about in the nutrition and supplementation class, you may not be able to methylate certain vitamins in your body based off of certain epigenetic markers that you have going on. And these things are knowable. We can know this stuff nowadays, you guys. And that's the frustrating thing and exciting thing, is that if we have the ability and we can know it, it's just that no regular people are told that we do have the ability to know this stuff, because most doctors don't know about this stuff either. There's 7 vitamins that are necessary for regular methylation to happen. We're going to go over those in a second. Vitamin B9 is one. So if you're not eating natural stuff and most stuff that we eat, you guys, don't have methylated vitamins. Some things do, but they need to be converted. So if you take methylated vitamins, they're immediately usable without requiring a ton of excess energy. 30 to 60% of the population has a gene anomaly with the MTHFR gene, or the methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase gene, that really inhibits the already inhibited process of breaking down folic acid. So 0 human beings break down folic acid well, because it's not a natural substance, and humans have only been exposed to folic acid for like 50 out of the hundreds of thousands of years that we've been on the planet, because it was just put into food not that long ago, and not in very many countries. Go figure. The US, the most wealthy country in the world, has like the 67th best health. It's something like that. It's absolutely pathetic. So if you don't have enough SAMe to donate adequate methyl groups, if you don't have enough amino acids, if you don't have enough vitamins and minerals, we can't process most stuff that we put into our body properly, including vitamins and minerals and folic acid. So here's the 7 essential nutrients to facilitate optimal energy efficient methylation. So here's vitamin D and magnesium are here again. So vitamin D, 95% deficiency in the United States. Magnesium, 70% deficiency in the United States. 30 to 60% of people have too much folic acid in their body and too little 5-methyl tetrahydrofolate. And one of the things that happens is, like a lot of synthetic compounds, folic acid, if you have equal amounts of folic acid and the natural 5-MTHF in your body, 5-MTHF is the healthy usable form. However, if you have both, your body is more affinitive, or it uses the folic acid first, because folic acid has a higher affinity for the receptors than 5-MTHF. So that's another thing to think about. If you have an MTHFR gene mutation, eating folic acid is poisoning yourself every day. Even if you don't have an MTHFR gene mutation, eating folic acid is poison every day. So in the United States, 100% of cereals, grains, anything, any non-organic grain has folic acid in it. It's fortified with folic acid. So the fortification process that our government likes to use is fortify stuff with poison. Folic acid is fortified poison.
Thanks for watching, you guys. Check out our online Intricate Art Nutrition certification at intricateartseminars.com, or for a huge discount on our whole Intricate Art Nutrition certification, check out our school community, skool.com/CEU, school.com/CEU.